We are busy today covering two local stories involving teenagers and alcohol. A 14-year-old girl in Bellingham is found dead. Police say she had been drinking and smoking marijuana. And another 14-year-old girl is accused of driving drunk, rolling a minivan near Chehalis. Two other people were inside the car at the time, a 16-year-old girl and that 51-year-old man right there who owned the car. Really disturbing cases where teenagers drink and get themselves in serious trouble. So how do you keep your kids from drinking? For that, we turn to best-selling author Dr. Greg Jantz. He wrote this book right here on the subject titled When Your Teenager Becomes the Stranger in Your House. Always great to see you.
Oh, thank you.
When you talk about teenagers experimenting and getting into real trouble with alcohol, that's a fine line.
It is a fine line, and there's going to be experimentation. And one of the things we need to be aware of is there's a line that gets crossed where there's really a cry for help. These are tragic situations you've just described. And I believe a lot of them can be avoidable. Too often as parents, though, we don't really talk about it, or we get angry and we confront it, and sometimes we drive the behavior deeper.
You say you also have to look for those warning signs, and some of them are evident. Changes in behavior, new friends, not doing well at school when they used to be good students.
And there's mouthwash and prescription pills are missing, yes.
Okay, so what else? Because, I mean, you and I were kids one day, so we know the obvious signs. If they smell like booze or pot, we're gonna pick up on that, but what else are kids doing to mask their behavior?
Well, they're masking it by being tricky with different substances. Remember, a lot of things that when we were growing up are different now. There's a lot more use of inhalants. Kids are experimenting with, really, it's dangerous.
They're huffing with household products around the house.
Glues, household products. And a lot of times we need to remember there's dares given. A kid is dared to do something. Now the 14, 15-year-old have very low tolerance. And sometimes the overconsumption can really actually not only poison them, but there's times that it can kill them.
So when do we start? How young should we be talking to our kids?
Well, we're talking to our kids right now. They're 10 and 13, and we've been talking about this for a while.
Even the 10-year-old?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The 10-year-old's a part of it as well. And we talk about alcohol, for example, and we talk about what's appropriate and what's not. And one of the things that we need to realize is kids have a desire to do what we're doing.
Sure.
And we need to remember what we're modeling.
Of course.
And, you know, right now, it is teenagers, and driving and alcohol is the #1 cause of death, followed by suicide.
Wow.
So this is a serious issue, Matt.
Yeah, we need to have these talks. So what is age appropriate? Because you need to be age appropriate. I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Should I be talking to my 6-year-old about drugs and alcohol?
Probably not yet, but we talk about that there's good drugs and there's bad drugs. And there are people that try to get us to do things, just like there's safe people and unsafe people.
Sure.
And we talk about it. By the way, as parents, we need to stay up to speed on what's going on, because some of it is changing so quickly, and the drugs are changing, and they're going down to younger ages. It's not uncommon for us to see a kid who's actually chemically dependent around even age 13.
Wow. Okay, so let's play this out.
Yes.
If I have a child who I believe is using or abusing alcohol or drugs, how do I start that dialogue? How do I let them know I'm suspicious, I know what they're doing, or I believe I know what they're doing, and open it up? Okay.
One of the first things, we got to be careful about our own anger. The more we get angry and we're screaming and yelling at them, that's not going to work. But we need to talk to them about, I've noticed some changes about you that I'm concerned about. I've noticed some things. Tell me about your friends. Tell me what you're doing. Really, at first, we're going to use a backdoor approach, because we really, we don't want to shame them. The more we try to shame them, the more we try to tell them how bad they are, the more it's going to drive that behavior. And guess what? The two questions the teen's asking is, where do I fit in and do I fit in? And they're going to fit in where they're being accepted. So we've got to keep it safe to talk about.
When do you get professional help?
Well,
if it's like do you feel like you're not getting anywhere? Is that when you reach out, or should you start by reaching out?
If I've had 2 incidents in the last 30 days, then there's probably more going on than what I realize. So if I have a kid who's come home and I smell alcohol, pot, or there's probably more going on, I want to have an evaluation done. Really, this can be life or death.
But start now and start when they're young.
Oh, absolutely. And talk about it. And don't be afraid to have an assessment done. We do that daily, and I got to tell you, the kids are angry and upset. That's a natural response. But a lot of times they need some education they don't have.
And then they know you're watching them.
And remember, they feel like they're invincible.
Right.
This isn't going to hurt me.
Right. Okay, Dr. Greg Jantz,
Yes.
always good information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.